about a third down, page Samach. The line begins the word hamamshich. Hamamshich atmos ein sof. The principle of Dirah, I give when I was explaining, I mean, this is not new, but here this is the great emphasis that Dirah pertains to the etzem. It directly addresses the etzem rather than the function aspects. Because there are many functions in a person, for example. But when is it appropriate to say that he has a Dirah is that which encompasses and enables his whole essence. As the Gemara says, Odem shein lebayis einoi odem. And therefore, this is the intent when you say Dirah betachtonim. Dirah betachtonim means a Dirah means where Atmos itself would be present. Now the etzem is not manifest in any particular action, in any particular function. It is just a response of the very reality of the person. And the same thing in the Maila, we're saying that Dirah betachtonim means the etzem. So he started explaining how it is that as a result of the Avodah with the Nefesh HaBahamis, but the Nefesh HaBahamis is nisbarer, and then nistakin, and then perfected. So the Nefesh HaBahamis also begins to be interested in etzem. Tzorich Nitz is bechinas ho'atzmus. As we explained, that this is a total anomaly for the Nefesh HaBahamis. But because bechinas ho'atzmus is not to be experienced. There's nothing that you can experience from atzmus. You cannot describe what it is that you were experiencing, that you're sensing, that you were getting from atzmus. Therefore, it is a complete a turnaround from Nefesh HaBahamis. And this is why it's described over here in the form, not that he wants it, there's no way, because he has no shaykhs to it. Nefesh HaBahamis wants something that he can experience. Like you say, you get up in the morning, why? You anticipate. I'm not going to go to the coffee, but you anticipate whatever you have to do. You're going to have a shir, you're going to go to work, you're going to meet your friends. Some kind of an experience, of kind of an involvement. To get up in the morning, just because you realize the Rebbe is there. For no particular activity that this engages. This is something which is not within the purview, normal sense of Nefesh HaBahamis. The Nefesh HaBahamis is purified, and it realizes all of these things that I am engaged in, I'm interested in, is not the real thing. It is necessary that my want, but want means that which gets me up, that which says I want to live. It is because there is atzmos. Not because there are any of the other benefits and experiences. When the Nefesh Abamis reaches this point, that brings Dirah betachtonim. Why is that? This is what we're going to discuss now. If you do a hamoshel, okay, so as we explained, that this Inyan, that the Nefesh Abamis turns to Atzmos, this is not from the experience of Nefesh Abamis, the interest of Nefesh Abamis, this is inside the bitul of the Nefesh Abamis. Ultimately, it comes to an Inyan from bitul. Bitul means that what I want is totally insignificant. And I'm not living in order to experience that which I want. Why then do I live? Why then do I pursue life? And because there is that which I cannot experience. There is that truth. And that is what I want to relate to. And how do I relate to it? Indirectly, because I cannot possibly relate to it. I don't have that kind of capacity. No tzorich litzis. I'm dedicated to it. It's in the form of what would be called make-believe. You know, I'm doing what is the truth. Not because I appreciate it myself, but I know this is the truth. And this is why I do it. And that arouses a response milmailo, a Dirah hamamshich or atzmos. Can you hold me the question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, so we underline the begins from hamamshich, hamamshich atzmos and so. Ukiyodua hamoshel the tipin hamdaberes. As is known, the moshel for this that illustrates this phenomenon of the tipin hamdaberes, of the speaking bird. The ka asher odom yesh le bakosh al hamelech, that when a person has any kind of request from the melech, the leiv malachim ein cheker, and we know that leiv malachim, the heart of kings, ein cheker, you cannot fathom. There is no way to reach the heart of kings. This is a pasuk in a pasuk. Leiv malachim ein cheker. Shemuvdol legamri, which means that he is totally divorced or totally remote mebakoshas ahedit, from the request of this hedit. Now, I'd like to put it in context because this is an important motion. Surely we have an immediate reaction to this. Of course, these malachim are arrogant. They don't care about their people, as history had substantiated. But here talking about a melech from a completely different, from a real Torah perspective. The Torah says that there should be a melech, and we had malachim that are the Torah that the Torah had established them as malachim. These malachim.
To remain on this call, press 1.
I'm giving another chance.
Returning to the conference room.
These malachim were the pinnacle, were the essence of that nation. The reason that people wanted the melech is that the melech, this would gather and get all the phenomenon, all the significance of this nation and be representative of that. on an essential level. There was a Yid over here about Avram Paris. I happen to have known him a little bit, but Avram Paris, was in the time of the Friedrich Rebbe, basically, and then also in the Rebbe. Avram Paris was an interesting chassid. He started typing up. There was siches, and he used to type up like they are. He was a very special person. His connection to Rebbe was phenomenal. Avram Paris was a man of means. How would God do it? But he would disseminate it completely. Avram Paris said that to have curtains on the Rebbe's windows is more important than to have milk for your babies.
What?
And to have milk for your children. This was his sense. There's no question he provided for his children. What is the point? By a melech, you can't. This is in an entirely different arena, different sense of value. Everything, every little thing, every last detail by a melech is more significant than the greatest thing by the Henyot. This is the essential reality. So that's what it says, Lei Melochim Ein Cheker. The heart of Melochim Ein Cheker, you cannot fathom, you cannot really get down to it. And what will arouse the king? How do I get to the heart of the king so he would listen to my bakosh? Shemuvd al gam bakosh Oy, or similarly, K'may Chacham Godel, a very great scholar, Shetar would be in Inyan B'sichlim Amukim, who is preoccupied in the depth of his Inyanim in Sichlim Amukim B'Yosef, in extremely deep Sichlim. That also we discussed yesterday or the day before. So the Chacham is involved in Sichlim Amukim. Again, just to forewarn any kind of misinterpretation due to our worldly exposure, Sichlim Amukim does not mean convoluted Sichlim. Sichlim Amukim, deep Sichlim means Sichlim to identify the Seichel, how the Seichel flows from the Rotzen, and ultimately how the Seichel flows from the Etzem HaNefesh. That's means Sichlim Amukim. To get down to the truth of this Seichel. Like I said, an example that enables us to think. I always say that a person to sit by a table is not for convenience. A table is a representative of the human dignity and beyond. What's human dignity? Human dignity is a very important phenomenon. Human dignity is ultimately representative of the fact that the human being was created by God as an individual, not by a statement, let him be a human being. He formed him, every last detail. And definitely in every last detail there is a godly, so to speak, contemplation. How should I do this? How should I do this? Why is this way? Everything is representative of the godly truth. That's what a human being is. Therefore, everything in human being goes back to the highest sources in his soul and ultimately in the intent that God has in his creation. So therefore, when he is preoccupied with sichlim amukim b'yosef, very deep sichlim, he is digging in to get to the source of the seichel. He is in a completely different reality. Hine, therefore, bigdei le'oire lem hamelech, in order to arouse the heart of the king, or this chacham, the scholar, lifnei a love, that he should turn towards him and he should listen to him. Maybe loy doire. So then the simpleton brings to him, to the king or to this chacham, a doire, a gift. What is this doire? Eze davar chidush. The doire consists in some kind of a novel situation, something that is total, but is not expected. Shebozen nifne lev hamelech, whereby the heart of the king turns. Now, so one example, or dvar chidush, or dvar chidush, some kind of a chidush, some kind of an unexpected phenomenon. As an example is the tzipor medaberes, the speaking bird. Now, the tzipor medaberes chidush, the chidush in tzipor medaberes is speech by a human being is a very significant, very deep meaning. As we say, the human being is actually described as medaber, because in speech is revealed the depth of his heart, the depth of his mind, the depth of his soul. And this is why he is speaking. To express the depth of his soul, ultimately he has to be in speech. When you have a tzipor medaberes, you have this bird that speaks. This is an anomaly. The bird is speaking, but the bird does not have the depth of sense of what speech means. Why then does the bird speak? The bird is mimicking the human being. Why is he mimicking the human being? Despite the fact that he does not know what speech is. But there is some kind of a sense in this bird that this is something phenomenal. He has absolutely no idea what's the phenomenal about. And he goes and he mimics it. At what level? At the most superficial level. But something impresses him. The human being speaks, and therefore he mimics a human being. As we said many times, that the animal somehow recognizes the supremacy and the superiority of the human being. That essentially, in real truth, in other words, if things are in their proper status, an animal could never attack a human being. And even in our state, I mean, you have animals fighting among themselves, and they would not touch the human being. There's something special, something unique. A child takes a huge horse and pulls him. Hey, come on. And the horse goes. So this Tzipur Medaberes expresses its cognizance of the human stature by mimicking his speech. I will be like a human being because I'm mimicking his speech. I'm going a little bit further just to get the idea. This is the Nefesh HaBahamis when it says Tzorech Yirtzois B'chinas Olatzmos. The Nefesh HaBahamis says, I will also be a human being. And I will feign, I will mimic Nefesh Elokis. But that's what I want. I'd rather mimic Nefesh Elokis than to be in my reality. This is what's called Birur Nefesh HaBahamis and Tikkun Nefesh HaBahamis. So this is why this is so significant. This is the Dover Chidush.
I think you skipped some words, by the way. You jumped to the next line. I think the line starts with the Eza Davar Chidush.
Yeah.
You didn't read the rest of that line after that. After Kamot Tzipor Hamamshich.
All right, let's go back there. So maybe Leiden is Dover Chidush K'mei Tzipor Hamamshich. Shehagam Shehadim. Okay, right. So Rebbe explains it itself. Shehagam Shehadibor Eine B'Yarech Dibor Ha'odom. That although that the Dibor of this Tzipor Medaberes is not at all comparable to the Dibor of the human being. So why is the Dibor arousing such interest? Mitzad HaMelech. Except Mitzad Hadvar Chidush Shebozeh. Because of the Chidush element that is expressed and found thereby. Nifna Lev HaMelech. This is why the heart of the Melech turns.
Is there a way to understand why?
Okay, one second. Nifna Lev HaMelech. Because of Archidus B'Tah, Nifna Lev HaMelech, so the heart of king turns. Now, I'm not going to go and eliminate all the possibility of things that we think about. Go straight to things. Why Nifna Lev HaMelech? Because if this tzipor is metaber, and the tzipor in Atama is willing to forgo all of its own involvement, all its own bird-like interests, and he wants to be a human being, even at least at the level of mimicking. That is telling the Melech, "Oi, look at this. There is something very significant in this human being. So significant that even to mimic him is worth the whole thing."
Well, the king becomes the parrot. He.
No, the king doesn't become a parrot. The king turns into a human being. This human being is of such significance that the parrot would rather parrot him, even though he doesn't know what he's doing. So Nifna Lev HaMelech. Yes, this is a simpleton. He's a simple guy, and he's not involved in my chokhmah all the time. But there is something very unique about him. And therefore, Kach, likewise, Habit the Nefesh HaBahamis, as a result of the bitul of the Nefesh HaBahamis. The bitul of Nefesh HaBahamis, as you said, it's incomplete. It's a Zed over Chidush, which is a total novelty, completely anomaly to the Nefesh HaBahamis. Nefesh HaBahamis is part of Yitzhak. The nefesh habahamis is battle to give up completely its own interest in its own experiences. V'yirtze be'elokus, and you should want elokus, even though it remains remote to him, he can't really experience elokus. It's beyond his capacity, his reach. Harei ze yokor me'ed be'einei havaya. But this is very, very dear be'einei havaya. Because this is a statement that what is sought over here is not anything that is within worldly experience, but that's the godly truth itself. ונמשך על ידי זה בחינת אסמוס אין סוף. And therefore, as a result of that, על ידי זה is נמשך the בחינה of אסמוס אין סוף. Yeah.
So wait a second. I thought that you were saying that the hedyot in the eyes of the king is like just a talking bird who's chittering away. Now I'm getting the impression that the king suddenly, because of something that the hedyot says, realizes, oh, there's a neshama here, and I want to relate to it. So the king, like the talking bird, like the parrot, recognizes something here worth interacting with. So I'm kind of bouncing around here. Who's the parrot and who's the...
No.
Okay.
You missed a very important part of the explanation.
Okay.
Why does a parrot mimic the human being?
As far as I know, this is a
Okay, so that's why I'm saying that's what you missed.
I think in the
Okay,
parrot
I know you're thinking.
It can mimic a dog too.
That's why you missed it, because you thought I know it before listening. That's what you missed in the explanation. I explained that the parrot mimicking the human being is a statement.
Yeah. Right.
That the human being
is something.
Is of such caliber that even if I just can mimic him,
right.
is worthy.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. That is a novelty.
How do you know that?
That you don't ask.
That is a novelty.
Don't ask. You've been here long enough. No.
That is a novelty.
That the bird can do that. That's a novelty. Okay.
That's a novelty.
Right.
That is why it's announcing. Oh, there's something. That's why the king is turning to the simpleton.
Oh, he hears the simpleton talking, and
he actually brings the bird.
Huh?
He actually brings the bird as a gift to the king. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Where's
brings the bird
oh,
to the king.
that's the story.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that at all. Not yesterday, not today.
The hedyot brings the bird to the king.
And that arouses the king's curiosity.
He sees it and he says, "Wow, this person must be something," because he sees this bird.
Oh God.
Well, okay. Okay. So this is that the nefesh habahamis, that by nature nefesh habahamis is interested in its own, in anything that it can experience. That's what a behemah is. So even though it's a nefesh habahamis, it's a human nefesh, a seichel, but he has to still seek what he can experience, to understand something, to feel the depth and beauty of it. But to want elokus That's totally no, that's beyond it. It's a different. That's why it's called bitul. Bypasses completely its own experience, its own level of appreciation, and says, no, I just want the real truth, no matter in what form I get it. If I can mimic, I do a mitzvah. What does a mitzvah mean? Nothing. To me, in my experience.
So that arouses that Atzma should want to, Bechinas Atzma should want to be in a place
In this world.
such as the world.
Yeah. This is actually a phenomenal statement on the part of the world. We just want you, nothing else.
Mm.
And this brings a response to the Melech that the Atzma should come into it. And this is the pshat, Dirah. We have to reflect on the Iyar that we always discuss. And the human being, again, this is something which gets lost in our personal experience. We don't realize to what extent a Dirah affects a human being, makes the person into a person. A Dirah makes a person to person, correlates the person to what the intent of his maker was. Which means it's not a question of what I experienced. Rebbe made the human being on the earth. Says the pasuk, "Onoichi yosisi oretz ve'odam Elohim baroshi." I mentioned this person several times in this couple of weeks. Hashem says, I made the earth, and Odom Allah Baroshi, and Odom I made upon this earth. That's it. I made Odom upon this earth. Whatever Odom is he has his, but primarily, where is it expressed? What Hashem made in the Odom is Odom Allah Baroshi, is the Odom occupying space, being in on the earth. This is the Dirah. This then enables and effectively reveals, brings a person to the state of acting at the level of I'm not just myself, what my experience is. I am what the Rebbe made me. The Rebbe made me to be influences on the world, and so this is what I am. This is the Dirah. Dirah touches the very essence. As we always explain, I can't really extend it much. I always explain the principle of essence. Etzem is not a worldly presence. We cannot explain from the worldly perspective what an etzem is. Because in the world, everything is put together as a conglomeration of many forces and many interests. For everything there's a reason. That's not etzem. Etzem is beyond the reason. Etzem is essence. This is a truth in itself. That is there in the world only because Hashem made himself, gave it, that command. Vishvat od etzem od. It is true to say that the whole world was created for the sake of Odom. Because Odom is the only real truth in the world, the real presence. who brings to the world a sense of true value, a true presence. This is a Dirah. This is why a Dirah, the mother says, a Dirah is very important to the person. Adam shouldn't buy it any other.
It's because of Adam, or it's because that Adam is capable of this, going beyond himself and seeking Alakus. That's what Adam is.
Adam she'ein loy Beis, ein loy Adam is that statement. He's an Adam. He's smart, he's capable, but he's not Adam, he's not that which God made. Doesn't have that kind of presence that God gave him. It doesn't function on that level.
When he's a tzibur medaber, so to speak, that's what God made. In other words, this is the when he goes beyond himself and he's seeking that which cannot be experienced. That is the ultimate statement of what God made.
The Nefesh HaBam, Nefesh HaLikis is one thing. The Nefesh HaBam is, this is betachtonim. Where is you see this Odom betachtonim is inside the Nefesh HaBam. Where he is able to recognize this godly truth, despite the fact that it is completely outside of his reach. All right, this is it for this one.